Hey guys, Jay here, and in this video I want to share with you guys the list of 22 new uniques in the patch 3.26. So as the game keep crashing, I thought I would do something a little bit productive and make a list of all the items, talk a little bit about it, maybe some build ideas, some brainstorming, just my initial opinion when I see the uniques. Some of them I already tested a little bit with, and some of them I have not even touched in game like ever. So take it with a grain of salt, but at least you know the information about all the uniques. Why do I make this video? Well, the reason I just explained is one, and number two, for some reason there is not really a list anywhere, at least as I know of. I cannot find one on Reddit. I cannot find one when I Google it. There's no one. There's none in POE DB. There's none in like Maxroll, Mobilytics. Nowhere. No videos. Nobody is doing anything. So I decided to do one because hey, it might take a lot of time, and here it is. So let's just go through the uniques. I will probably try to make the more interesting one early on in the video, and then some of the filler uniques might be in the end, right? So that will be timestamp in the description as well. There will be timestamp as well, so you might select the part that you are interested in. Just know that probably the more interesting one are in the front. So the very first unique, Whisper of Infinity. I would not try to talk a lot about this unique. There's a very good video talking in depth about this particular unique. It basically converts all the energy shield, all the cost to energy shield. So you have like a skill that use mana or use life. They all are converted into just cost by energy shield. So you can just use energy shield to sustain your cost. It also give a massive amount of ES and quite a big amount of reduced mana as well. It also comes with the unique line that said attack chaos damage per 100 mana. This is actually can scale to a pretty big amount. So I will leave the link in the description to Dreamcore's video. That is a very good, very in-depth video about this amulet. As I said, I don't want to talk too much about it because someone already did a really good job about this particular item. So yeah, come check it out. Shout out to Dreamcore. Second one, Legacy of the Rose. So this is a very fun item. I just discovered that it actually exists very recently, and I made a video about this particular item. I will also leave the link to that video in the description. So if you want to see how all of these random shaper skills are going to look like, basically they are actually just shaper skill. It is the shaper's ball. He shoot out like a insane amount of balls. I think it is 9 by default, and then he has Shaper Slam as well. So the Shaper Slam here, the important part is, look at this number, 4,100% of base damage. So any amount of added flat damage you are going to link to the skill is going to result in a lot of damage. And you cannot use this skill yourself. Shaper will use it for you. The mechanic of this item is you need to spend energy shield. So hey, we already see a little bit of synergy with the previous item that I just mentioned, which is the Amulet. And yeah, you can just potentially use a bunch of different skill to cost 2,000 mana, 2,000 energy shield. So the total cost needs to be 2,000 energy shield. You don't need to spend it in one single use. You can just cast multiple skill. They will just ramp up, and then eventually when you reach 10 remembrance, so it is kind of like a charge. So if you have 10 charges of this one, you can then use it to summon Shaper, and Shaper will use the skill. One very cool setup that I discovered in the previous video, but I did not explain in the video, is I used the Amulet, so the previous Amulet, to convert the life cost into energy shield, and then I used the Corrupting Fever, which is a skill that costs a lot of base life. It is like 870 something at level 21. And then I just used 3 additional support gem, and it cost like just a little bit over 2,000 ES because of the Amulet. And then after one press of Corrupting Fever, I just immediately can summon Shaper. So I can pretty much summon Shaper on cooldown because the Corrupting Fever there is also, by the way, an instant skill. So it have no cast time whatsoever. It is instant. So it feels pretty good in terms of like just smoothness of playing the skill. By the way, second, Shaper Despair. This is the Shaper's Ball. It does not have a lot of added damage effectiveness, but the base damage is pretty high, so probably you should be linking this skill if you have this version. By the way, it is not going to be like a random roll of 3 different skill. It roll on the item. So for example, if I have an item that says Shaper Despair, it is going to only shoot the balls. If it is Shaper Devastation, it is always going to slam. The slam have a very high delay, by the way. The cast time is 2 seconds, so it takes a long time to actually deal the damage, but it has cannot be evaded, so that's pretty good, right? I think the Shaper Despair here is going to be the best because it is a lot of projectiles. At the base, it is this. It is 9 balls, I believe. It fired 3 times. Each time is fire because it repeat 2, right? So each time it fire 3 projectiles, and it fire 3 times, so 9 projectiles. And if you link GMP to it, for example, it is going to just multiply that 9 times 5 is 45 projectiles. A lot of projectiles. If you want to see how it looks like, check out my video in the description. And the Shaper's memory, this one is the last one. I don't remember exactly because I cannot just put it, there's not enough space to put it in here, so I cut out the above part here. Anyway, it is the damage over time beam, so it has around 8,000 base damage, pretty high compared to this one, but because it cannot scale with additional projectiles, it only shoots in one direction, so I think this probably is one of the worst, if not the worst version. I would rate Shaper Despair to be the best one, Shaper Slam to be the best one for single target, and probably the damage over time here is just whatever, right? Okay, next item, the Arkhon's Tool. So this thing basically means you have 3 Skitterbot instead of 2. You have 1 additional one that give you Scorch, and also those Skitterbot also affect your character, so you will get Shock, Chilled, and Scorch. So you have Reduce elemental resistance because of Scorch. You have Shock, so you take more damage. So you need to deal with those ailments. And it actually is very easy to get immunity to Shock or unaffected by Shock. And one very cool thing is you can use Winter Weave. So this is a unique ring that reverse the chill effect on your character. So instead of going slower, you are going to go faster. And it is very easy to scale it to 30%. So basically 30% more action speed. It is movement speed, it is cast speed, attack speed, also trap throwing speed, mind throwing speed. So that is really good, right? Next item is Spinehail. So Vile Arrow Quiver, this one is just pretty broken. So if you just have like Summon Phantasm, or if you have I think the Hero of Purity as well, you can do cast on crit, summon Raging Spirit, or summon Skeleton. Just get any form of minion out, and you can do it on a bow with the Mana Force arrow setup, so it doesn't affect your main link. So you can just have a 6-link damage and 6-link damage ability, and then an additional Mana Force arrow to get like Phantasm up. Probably is the best one. Just 1 gem, summon Phantasm. They are going to spawn all the time, everywhere. So you are always going to get additional arrows, and it can roll up to 3 arrows. By the way, one cool interaction is if you use the Widow Hill, it can go up to like 10 additional arrows. But that bow have no base damage, so it's a very big opportunity cost, right? Next item, the Dark Monarch. So this is a really cool item. It basically double the amount of maximum of 1 minion type. And the list of all the minion types is here. Animated weapons, specters, spiders. Very cool. From the unique Arakalis Fang, zombies, the Absolution minion, very good as well. The Sentinel of Dominance from Dominating Blow, from Hero Purity, all the Golems, the Holy Relics, the Phantasm. So Soul Rats is going to be really strong with this. The Soul Rest is buff, and you have this new unique helmet. So Soul Rest basically can help you to summon, I think, a total of like 40 to 50 summon phantasm. I don't remember exactly. It's been like multiple years since I last played a Soul Rest build. Maybe I can revisit it sometimes in this league because it is heavily buffed, the item itself. And then the Dark Monarch is released into the game. Raging Spirit, you can do Reapers, you can do Skeleton, and you can also do Spectral Wolves from some unique item that can summon them. But I don't think they're that good anyway. So this is really cool item, really cool summoner item. More minions equals more fun. That checks all the boxes for me. And next item is 7 Teaching. I have a lot of mixed feeling about this item. First of all, it is a very, very gambly items in the rolls. So the roll here, you can see it is a very big gap, always from 1 to 7 or 100 to 777, 10 to 77. So the roll range is insane. So in order to get a really good roll one, it is just an insane amount of luck that you need to get, or potentially an insane amount of money that you need to pay to buy the item from trade, right? This item comes with a problem. So unarmed attack, right? Normally you have 3 kinds of unarmed attack. First of all is the Facebreaker. Second, it is the Hollow Palm technique. Third, it is the Doriani's Fist. Among those 3, the only thing that care about or scale spell damage at all is the Doriani's Fist. But the number on Doriani's Fist is absolutely dogshit, in my opinion. You already lose a bunch of unique item slot in order to enable the unarmed playstyle. So you need the unique Amulet for more base crit as well. This one is not going to be enough by itself. You need the unarmed glove, and you need to have no weapon. And you probably kind of need some specific item, unique item in other slot to make it happen, right? So you are losing a lot of item slot for rare items or for any other item to scale the damage effectively, especially for spells. So they triggered a socketed spell on unarmed melee critical strike here, even though it sounds really cool because it is like a 6-link, 7-link. It is cast on crit, right? And then you can have a 6-link spell in it, and then you can have a separated 4-link or 5-link to use to trigger this one. So it effectively can be like a 10 to 12 link cast on critical strike. And you can also do, like, for example, I have been testing with cast on crit, desecrate, with cyclone, and then that will generate a bunch of courses, and then I use the volatile death of seething, which is basically almost the same as the detonate death of chain reaction, but it is not nerfed. Detonate Death Chain Reaction right now, damage effectiveness is going down to 65%, which is an insane nerf. But Volatile Death of Seething also just immediately detonate 10 corpses and do 10 times the damage, the spell damage, whatever the amount is. So effectively, with the 170% damage effectiveness times 10, that is 1,700% spell damage, and we have a bunch of spell damage from Doriani's Fist. So that is the only way that we can like do a trigger spell build from the 7 Teaching, because you can use a trigger gem in the body armor, right? For the other 2 unarmed archetype, which is Facebreaker and Hollow Palm, you also have like item slot problem. And also, you don't have anything to scale spell. And also, you kind of want, if you want to do attack as your main damage, right? You want to socket it in the 6-link, which is the body armor. So there is no way that we can utilize the trigger socketed spell on unarmed melee critical strike. That is the problem with this body armor. If you just want to ignore that trigger spell, it is a massive improvement to like Facebreaker, even maybe Hollow Palm. Hollow Palm have very good body armor that can give you like a bunch of perks for deck stacking. So I don't know about that, but for Facebreaker, it is insanely good. You can just cap your crit very easily at the moment, and you can just have a really good time cycloning around and or use any other skill, maybe Volcanic Fissure snaking as well. It's going to be a viable option. The damage is pretty damn good. right? But I still don't like it because of the trigger spell here. It's very weird to use, very, very underpowered if you want to use it with the Doriani's Fist. The damage seems to be like really, really low for some reason. Anyway, Mystic Refractor, Pagan 1. So this means more projectiles, but the projectiles cannot continue, so you cannot pierce, you cannot chain, you cannot fork, you cannot return. So it works really well with skills that kind of explode and shotgun. I think this worked pretty well with what is the cold skill? Creeping Frost, right? So you shotgun it and it can deal a lot of damage. I think that this can be really good with that. Maybe there are other skills that can work really well with this one, but I have not tested with. So at least that is one skill that comes to mind when I think about this item, right? Servant of Decay. So this one is a pretty cool one. I really want to try it out sometime. So it trigger level 20 summon voice spawn every 4 seconds. So it is a summon build, but it is also automatically refresh, automatically summon. So you don't need to worry about casting it. I really like automated stuff. So hey, of course I like it, right? Anyway, I don't know if the minion is going to be strong, but here are the information that we got so far from POE DB. So summon voice spawn. From the look of it, it seems like it is the little tentacle monster that spawned in the Elder fight. So it is the same one, and it is going to shoot a bunch of projectiles. I think because it is a skill that comes from this item, so you can have it like 6 socket and you can have a 7-link summon voice spawn. But I am skeptical about the damage. It has a bunch of attack here, so it is casting a spell. It is multicastable, so you can do spell echo, and triggerable because it is already triggered, and it can rapid fire. So I think if the damage is good enough, it is going to be good. If it's not, it is going to be not. By the way, the Monarch unique helmet does not contain double voice spawn. So sadly, you can only have 4 of them. So yeah, it is what it is, right? Also, it applies wither on hit. So if the damage is not good, right, potentially you can just use this one to apply a bunch of debuffs. Maybe wither, maybe other stuff as well, and then support your own skill, because the body armor also comes with damage taken from life before you per voice spawn. What is this? Okay, it is taken from, so basically they take some amount of the damage for you, and then you also get some additional chaos damage, extra chaos damage per voice spawn. If you have the minion spawn recently to be like immortal, undamageable, they are going to always give this 2 amount. So potentially 24% extra damage as chaos and 24% damage mitigation, if I understand this correctly. Again, I have not tested, so speculation. Next item, Binds of Bloody Vengeance. So this one, some armor, some life, increased attack damage if you've been hit recently. The main one is all hit from your next non-channeling attacks within 4 seconds of taking a critical strike will be critical strike. So if you do like Retaliate build, you can consider using this. You don't need to invest into any form of critical strike. Because with this following item, with Reckless Defense, and you can use a bunch of these one as well, it is going to give you a lot of block chance and also increase critical strike chance against you. So if you play like the Retaliation build, you can have a lot of block chance from this, and you also pretty much can guarantee to take like a critical hit like everyone now, and like basically all hit can be critical hit very easily, right? And you can do some sort of reduced crit damage taken or take no damage from critical strikes. These are quite easy to have from the skill tree and from some items. So you guarantee the crit, and you can use stuff like the Marilyn's Fallacy for a lot of easy crit damage and scale the damage from then. So I think potentially this can be good if the Retaliation build is not so clunky. At least for me, it is quite clunky. So if you enjoy the playstyle, I think this is going to be a good add. Next one is Betrayal Sting. So this item is really cool. It basically means 40% more poison damage if it works. Right now, sadly, it doesn't work. I need to check if the recent patch actually fixed it, but GG confirmed that it added the poison stack, but for some reason the poison stack doesn't do damage. The extra poison stack doesn't do damage, so they need to fix it. But when they fixed it, this is going to be just 40% more poison damage, which is really strong for a lot of poison builds. Bound by Destiny. So this one is a bunch of random modifiers, and it can be really cool. I have been using one of these for self-igniting with Fulcrum, so you can potentially get max charges, charge generation, +1 curse, +1 or +2 projectiles in some cases, unaffected to ailments including ignite, shock, chilled, and I think poison and bleed as well. Maximum resistances, damage multipliers. If you want to check out the full list for this item of the modifiers, maybe you want to find one that works for your build and you want to build around it, just go to POE Wiki. Right? I will leave the link in the description to this particular item, and you can check out the list there. It is too long to put everything in here, so I just like lay out some of the standout one for me. Next one is Coiling Whisper. So this is questionable. So because it only happened, it gives you Soul Eater, in a sense. So it only happened, you only get the soul when 90% of your hex duration expire on an enemy. And maybe if you could find a way to make a hex last like really short amount of time, so you curse something, it instantly just give you all the soul, then maybe it will work well. But yeah, other than that, I think if you cannot stack the curse duration down long, like short enough, then it's not going to be pleasant to play with. Maybe someone will figure out something really cool with this one. I don't know. I have not been playing with it yet. But if it works, if someone figure out how to make this work, this can be an insane amount of just speed overall. So more speed, more fun. Really cool. The next one is Enmity's Embrace Vermilion Ring. This one got teased before, and I think this item can be really strong, but also the downside is big enough that it makes the item kind of balanced, in my opinion. Because if you take a look at this one, 75% reduced fire resistances. This one is not minus 75%. This one means if you have 100 fire resistant, you only get 25. So it is a massive downside, unless I am understanding it incorrectly. I have not directly played with this item, so take it with a grain of salt. If this one is just simply minus 75% resistant, then it's going to be okay. It's very doable. But if it is reduced as a multiplier to whatever the amount of resist you have, just like the annihilating light staff, then it is going to be a big downside. Then take some fire damage when you use a skill. Well, to be honest, I think this can be considered a downside, but most of the time, people will find ways to use it as an upside to trigger cast one damage taken, trigger a bunch of stuff when you get hit. So this can be a really cool enabler for some build. And yeah, overall, I think this is a very nice, very well-designed item. If this is reduced fire resistant, maybe it's a little bit too much. Maybe it's 50%. That will be more manageable, personally, for some poor player like me who often do not get a lot of currency to work around these kind of downside. Again, if it works as I think it is. Starcaller. This is really cool, but just simply it gives you Starfall. I think this is a skill that works like Firestorm, but it rains faster, and also it deals cold damage. So yeah, I've seen people playing around with it. It seems just okay, to be honest, because the weapon itself does not actually have that much damage, and it is hard to skill crit, to be honest. 5% is really hard to skill crit with. The good thing is, this one you can just have a 6 socket of the Starcaller, and 6 of the support gem are always going to support the Starfall. You don't need to link it, so it's not that expensive. And you can use for example, let's just say Cyclone, very obvious, to trigger this one in a different setup, so you can do damage with both. At least that is just kind of like the intended way to play with this item. Maybe someone will figure out something cooler with it. Venarius Astrolable. So this one, because of this one, level of all elemental support gem if stars are aligned. First of all, stars aligned means 6 different type of influence items. So this is pretty hard to actually set up. But when you set it up, if this one is like +3 level to all support gems, that is going to be bloody insane because it includes Empower, Enlighten, and Enhance. But elemental support gem, so it does not include those. So it's a little bit less strong. I guess it's okay, but I'm not really impressed with this one. +3 to all elemental skill gem is obviously strong. But if this one is like just generic support gem, it will be so much stronger. And it will be, I think it will be worth the setup with 6 influence items of different types, which is, again, pretty hard to just set up. Not really hard, but it's kind of annoying to set up. Wine of the Prophet, Gold Flask. So this one just give a bunch of random divination buff, all random. The good thing is none of them are bad. Maybe some of them can be useless for your build. For example, if you don't build around projectiles and the divination buff give you additional projectiles, that is going to be useless. But this can be a fun item. There's just a lot of buff. You can have like 50% movement speed, a lot of AoE, a lot of evasion, all those kind of stuff. Just very long list of like 30 different things that can happen. So yeah, check it out. I will leave the link in the description to the POE wiki page that have the full list of all the divination buff for this item. And we come to the last interesting stuff here. This one, basically, the only thing that we care about is your lucky or unlucky effect. Use the best or worst from 3 rows instead of 2. So I think it basically, so for example, if you are lucky already, so let's say if you deals 1 to 99 damage. So average is 50, right? On average, you should do 50 damage. With lucky, normal lucky, you should do like 66.7. So it's 2/3. And with this one, I think it's probably like 3/4, so 75. So it's a little bit more, but the problem with this item is it is a shield. And one of the best lucky effect in the game is Lucky Block from Svalin, which is also a shield, and we cannot use the shield with the shield, so that goes out of the window. Maybe you can figure out something with the new Saboteur Ascendancy with lucky and unlucky damage, lucky crit, unlucky damage. Hands of Heresy. So Excommunicate, this is the unique line, so this makes enemies deals no chaos damage. I think this can be pretty cool if you are not a CI character, or if you have a bunch of minions that you worry about dying to chaos damage. You can link this one to like a Volcanic Fissure Snaking mercenary, and it basically just almost all the time remove chaos damage from what you need to care about. So for example, if I play this, I use this one on my Merc with my Golem character. My Golem is already immune to elemental damage. With this, they are pretty much immune to chaos damage as well all the time because the enemies are excommunicate, and then I convert 95% of physical damage to elemental. So my Golem is entirely immortal. They just don't take damage, pretty much. Only 5% of physical damage. And Howlcrack, I think this is a whatever item. The problem is it is a helmet, and currently there's a cool helmet that allow you to explode nearby corpses with the warcry, and sadly this is also another helmet, so they do not work with each other. So I think this helmet will not show up pretty much any time. Non-instant warcry, you use yourself, so you have to cast it yourself, and it also costs a lot more life for no cooldown. It also have no cooldown, yeah. Prospero's protection, so I think this is not worth it. This obviously can be good with some build that use, like for example, Cloak of Flame because that have no armor, so the downside is pretty much negated. And then you can use a big ass shield with like 2k 2.5k armor, and you can have a lot of armor. But that is about it. But I don't think it is worth one ring slot. One ring slot, you can do so much cool things with it, so maybe we will not see this one. And the base ring, if this one is a better base, then maybe it's cooler, but this iron ring base is horrible. It doesn't do anything for almost any build. Scorn Flux, this is pretty much a filler item. The thing that you have here is Grand Arcane Surge when you use movement skill. There's a lot of easy way to get Arcane Surge already, so this definitely do not worth one boot slot. Misty Footprint is just like MTX. Maybe it looks cool for transfer. Squirming Terror, this is the fun item. So it spawn one enemy worm. If you're not familiar with worm, it normally is only spawned from the Wreathing Jar unique flask, and it spawn a lot of worms, but you require 4 flask charges. But this one does not require flask charges. Maybe some crazy person will come back with a new edition of the Worm Blaster. If you don't know what it is, look it up. I do not leave a link to in the description because there are multiple versions of them throughout the history of POE. It dates back to like 10 years prior. So really cool things. Please like look for it, check it out. It's really cool. But now maybe this one will enable a little bit more like friendly playstyle for the Worm Blaster. At least you don't need to spam the flask all the time unless you do like single target. And that is it. That is every single item that is added, every single unique item that is added in the patch 3.26. So let me know if I missed an item or two somewhere. I think I got it all. It take a little bit of time. So if you think this is helpful or interesting in any way, consider to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Right now I need to go back to work. This is my lunch break. And yeah, I will see you in the next one. Remember, play the game. Do not let the game place you. And peace.